Welcome back, everybody. Today we will go through the third sloka of Soundarya Lahari. But before that, let's all sit tall, head, neck, and trunk in a straight line. We'll do a short meditation. Closing your eyes, focusing your breathing to the middle of your heart. We'll take 3 deep breaths, focusing the center of your body. Inhale deep and feel the body getting energized. And exhaling, completely relaxing the body. Inhaling deep. Exhaling and coming to the present moment. Inhaling deep one more time. Exhale and completely drop everything. Very good. Keeping the eyes closed, we will do the Rupa Dhyanam using the Sindhurarana Vigraha. Closing your eyes still. Bring that beautiful Vigraham of Devi in your mind. Step by step, you are etching her Rupam in your mind. Let's start. Sindhuraruna Vigraham. So we are meditating on that Divine Mother who is red in color of Sindhuram. Trinayanam, she has 3 eyes. Manikya Maulispurat, she has a beautiful crown which is studded with rubies. Tara Nayaka Shekharam, she has in her head a crescent moon, an Ashtami Chandran, the 8th day's moon. Smitamukhi, Apina Vakshoroham, she has full bosom, which is carrying that milky ocean to nourish us, nourish her children, all of us. Panipyam Alipurna Ratna Chashakam. On her one hand, there is Chashakam, a pot that is again studded with rubies, but is carrying Amritam, nectar. Because of that, there are bees buzzing around that pot. Can you hear the bees buzzing around? Rektolpalam Piprati. On her other hand, there is a beautiful red lotus flower. Saumyam Ritna Khadasta Retta Charanam Dhyayet Param Ambikam. She is seated on a jewel-studded pedestal. And to that Devi, we are doing our pranamam. So keep that Devi's Rupam in your mind for one more moment. And we will do the Manasa Puja by offering her Jalam, Gandham, representing Prithvi Tattvam, Pushpam, Akasha Tattvam, Dhupam, incense, representing Vayu Tattvam, Deepam, representing Agni Tattvam, and finally, Naivedyam, the food, representing our own prana. Keep that for one more moment. Today, we will explore the verse 3, but before that, we will first do a quick recap of the last session, which is this verse 2, and then we'll move on to verse 3. So verse 2 was talking about power of Devi's lotus feet, Shakti's lotus feet. So it went on saying that Brahma collects the dust, the fine dust from Devi's lotus feet and carefully put it together to create this universe. Vishnu somehow, with great difficulty, carries it, and Shiva, during Laya, make it again into powder and smears that bhasma into his body. So we also talked about Brahma, how Brahma is putting together this dust to create the universe. Out of the 6 darshana from Hinduism, Kanada's darshanam is one of them. It's called Vaisheshika. And that one is talking about Paramanus, the minute particle, the building block of the universe. He has coined so many names like Paramanu, Ekanu, Donugam, Trinugam, etc. And he also coined something called like an Adrishta Shakti is holding these Paramanus together. And this Adrishta Shakti could very well be electromagnetic force. And we talked about the attraction and repulsion forces. Attraction and repulsion forces within the atoms, which keeps the atoms together. There is attraction force between the electrons, the negatively charged electrons, and the protons in the middle with the nucleus. And between the protons, between positively charged particle, there is a repulsion. And that same force is what is keeping in the solar system the planets together too, these attraction repulsion forces. And that attraction repulsion forces or attachment aversion, or we call raga dvesha, is represented in Devi's hands as Pasham and Ankusham. Pasham represents the attraction or the attachment, and Ankusham represents aversion or repulsion, the raga dvesha. From microscopic level, from an atomic level to the macrocosm level at the planetary system, and the whole universe is held together by these forces. And you can see that there is this whole dynamic action going on, right? But there is a rhythm to it. If some of these forces are a little bit left or right, then there's going to be chaos, right? But that is not happening. There is somehow all these things are put together, and it is dancing in a rhythm. That is actually Shiva's cosmic dance. It's also called dharma. The whole thing, how they are put together, is also known as dharma. So dharma is the one that is holding the whole universe together, and one of the definition of dharma. And now, whatever we are doing to keep that dance going, that the cosmic dance going or dharma going, is called karma. So now you can imagine, like, if we do anything to disturb that dharma, it's going to be adharmic, and we will bear the consequence of that action. So all that karma theory, the slicing and dicing Rajeshji is doing with Avantiji, an amazing class on Tuesday. So if you're interested to know more about karma, its effects, how it is impacting us, please request you to join those classes. But now we are talking about here these forces, how this is acting at the atomic level and also at the planetary level. Okay, so enough about the atoms, enough about the planets. What is in it for me? Like, how is this affecting me? So this attraction, repulsion, or attachment, aversion is the one that is actually going on in our life too. We all have likes and dislikes, right? Forget about us, even the Devi Devatas have likes and dislikes. So there is one particular Devata who plays flute all the time and wears only the yellow garment. And there is another Devata who wears only white and who will play Veena all the time, right? And there is another Devata, this you will definitely not miss it. There's that Devata always wear red in color, right? So everybody, even Devatas, have likes and dislikes. So, I mean, of course, then we don't have to even talk about us. Like, we have our likes and dislikes. So then what is it, the Pasham and Ankusham representing? Is it Devi's Ankusham and Pasham representing simply saying that, okay, you have likes and dislikes? Not really. So that is actually going on saying that these likes and dislikes should not control you. You should control those likes and dislikes, meaning you should do in any of your likes and dislikes, or the attachment aversion should be aligned with the dharma. Meaning, one of the examples, Rajesh, you always mentioned this in Bhagavad Gita classes, and I love this example because it is so practical. So let's assume, like, I like gulab jamun a lot, right? But let's also assume that I have diabetes. So if I go on eating a lot of this gulab jamun, it's actually dharma to my body, and I will bear the consequence to that. And that is that's an example of a like. The same way the dislike also, right? I don't like exercise. Like if I don't do exercise, also I will suffer the consequence. So your like and dislike, we should not let that control us. We should be controlling our likes and dislikes, or we should do it in line with dharma. So that's kind of the message that we need to take. So that's what is in it for me from this, the whole theory of attraction, repulsion, or attachment, aversion. It is there. If we are born as a human being, likes and dislikes are going to be there. But our karma should be in line with dharma, but we should not let it control us. So that was about the whole find that's putting together to this universe. Then Vishnu, we said Vishnu with so much effort, with this 1,000 heads, that carrying this so-called created universe by Brahma. So we know that why is it specifically use the word kathamapi, vahattena shaurim, kathamapi sahasrena shirasam. So why is it to use the word kathamapi somehow with so much difficulty? Because you know that anything that is creation and destruction is easy, right? Talk about our own birth and death, right? Like birth and death, it's the easy part. But then think of the living part, the sustaining. That is the difficult part, right? So that's why that is among the three actions, cosmic actions. The sustaining is considered to be even more effortful. Shiva is always in union with Shakti, so he is the biggest upasaka of Shakti. So leaving Shiva aside, Vishnu is actually the biggest upasaka of Devi. In Bharatavarsham, there are 51 Shakti Pithas. The story is that during the Dakshayaga time, Sati came and Sati did the Dehatyagam. Shiva was in anger doing the Tandavam with her body, and Vishnu came and using his Sudarshan Chakra, it's divided into 51 pieces, and then he established that 51 Shakti Pitham in Bharatavarsham. And it is some are in Nepal, some are in Sri Lanka, so there are 51 of them. Vishnu is a rishi of some of the Sri Vidya Sampradaya, Sri Vidya mantra. So Vishnu is considered the biggest upasaka of Devi. So that is another reference on the second cosmic function. The third one, when the last one is the solution, when it comes to the time of Laya, Shakti withdraws her power, because everything, Shakti is giving the power to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So when Shakti withdraws her power from the universe, then this again go back to the fine dust. So Shiva is using that dust to smear on his body. That was the first one. And it was actually talking about the power of the fine dust that is coming from lotus feet of Devi. Now, the third verse is also talking about the exact same thing, the same dust. But the difference is here, the last verse was talking about the cosmic functions. Now it is coming closer to me. So, of course, I understand how universe is created, but what is Devi doing it for me? So that is what the third verse talk about. So it is Devi's love to us. I'll just chant first, and then we will look the detail. Avidyanāmandas timiramihirat dvīpanagari jadanam chaitanya stabhagamakaranta srutichari daridranam chintamani gunaniga janma jaladhau nimagnanam damshtra muraripu parahasya bhavati. So let's see what this dust is doing to us. So here, Devi is showing her mother is showing her love towards us, and we are us is like there are so many different type of us. Everybody's different. So here it's grouped into 4 different type of people, and 4 different type of people. What she's doing to them, how she is helping them, is what this verse is all about. So let's start with the first set of people. Avidyana, so the one who is ignorant. Ignorant, meaning the one's avidya, ignorance is the reason for why we are even first born, right? So those with avidya, they antas timiram. Anta means inside. Timiram is darkness. So antas timiram is that because the avidya, ignorance causes the internal darkness. So we are the ones that who have not yet realized that we are that Atman, we are that Brahman, we are that Shiva. We haven't recognized that. So that's why it is calling avidyanam, who has andastimiram, who has the darkness inside. For those people, what is this dust doing? What is mother doing? She is becoming Mihira Dweepanagari. Mihiran is a synonym for sun. Where is Mihira rising? The imagination of a poet is what is shown here. He is imagining when you are looking the sun rising. Of course, we know that sun doesn't rise or set. The earth is going around the sun, but what we see is different, right? We can see when we are looking at in the morning, we can see in the horizon the sun is rising. So if you can imagine in the horizon, there is the close to horizon, like at the end of the horizon. If you can imagine, there is a dweep. Dweep is actually an island, and that island is the first is the one that where the sun will be rising first, because it's closer, like as we see on the other side of the ocean. So that Dweepa Nagari, that Nagari is an city. So inside that Dweep, if there is a city, if that light that is falling on that, the sunlight falling on that city, that, like, imagine the abundance of light that is coming there, right? Like, because we are so far on the other side of the horizon, but if you are looking into the end of the horizon, that Dweepa Nagari is the one that will have most abundant light. So for those people who have internal darkness, which is the avidya, and for that people, the dust becomes an abundant light. It's a Mihira Dweepa Nagari. Sun's light in that Dweepa Nagari is what she becomes. Now the next, that is about avidyanam. So next is Jadanam Chaitanya Stabaga Makaranta Srutichari. Jadanam is the people, that low-witted people, like Jadam, who is not highly intellectual. For those people, the Chaitanya, it becomes a Chaitanyam's, what kind of Chaitanyam comes through? Stabaga Makaranta Srutichari. Stabakam is a group of flower. Makarandam is the honey. And Sruti Chari, both Sruti means Thara and Chari means a stream. So it becomes a gushing of that Makarandam. Chaitanyam as a Makarandam, like it is gushing out of that set of flowers, is what it is to a people with Jadanam. Jada people who are not, who are more like inert people. She becomes an abundance of Chaitanya. Now the third people. Daridranam Chintamani Gunanika. Daridranam, the poor, the indigent people, she becomes what? Chintamani. Chintamani is actually a wish-yielding gem. So you have heard things like Kalpavriksham or Kamadhenu. They are considered to be that is providing us anything that we wish for. Kalpavriksham is that anything that you can do the kalpana of, that provides that Kalpavriksham, the tree. Similarly, the Kamadhenu, Kamadhenu references in both Mahabharata and Ramayana, and the story with Jamadagni Maharshi serving Kartavirya and all his army with everything that was provided by Kamadhenu. So they are all considered as the wish-fulfilling, either the cow or the gem or the vriksham. So this is something. She becomes a Chintamani. Chintamani is the wish fulfilling. Whatever you ask for that Chintamani, it's a Kaustubam that is in the chest of Lord Vishnu. So that Chintamani is what she becomes for the people, the poor people. And it's not just one Chintamani. One Chintamani could bring you everything that you ever wanted for. And it is actually a Gunanika. It's a group of Chintamani, like a multiple Chintamani is what she becomes for those people who are Daridra. And now talking about the fourth set of people. Janma Jaladhau Nimagnanam. Janma Jaladhau is those who are in the Samsara Sagaram, like Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. So we are going around and around in that Janma Jaladi. Jaladi is Sagaram. So that's samsara sagaram. Those who are nimagnana means immersed. For those who are immersed in the samsara sagaram, she becomes what? The dust on her feet becomes damshtra muraripu varahasya bhavati. She becomes the damshtra or the dusk of Muraripu Varahasya. Mura is the Asura, and Ripu is enemy of the Asura, and that is Vishnu. You have heard the word Murari for Krishna, so that is coming from he has killed Mura, the Asura. So that Muraripu Varahasya. So Varaha is one of the avatara of Vishnu, the third avatar of Vishnu, and using Damshtra, there is this whole story, maybe a quick backdrop story there. So after Brahma created this universe, Brahma asked the kings to go and rule the world. And then people were looking, okay, by the way, the world has disappeared. The Bhumi Devi is nowhere to be seen. Devata tells Lord Brahma that the Bhumi has been taken over by the Asura called Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, both were born as demons. So out of that, Hiranyaksha actually took Bhumi Devi, immersed her under the cosmic ocean. So Varaha actually comes out of the story is that it comes out of from the nose of Brahmaji, and then it grows into it's a rupam with a half man and half boar into a huge form, and that is actually the Vishnu's avatara. And that Varaha actually goes down the water to searching for Bhumi, and finally it finds Bhumi. Varaha kills Hiranyaksha and takes Bhumi Devi on top of his tusk, take it all the way up the water. And that's the story of the third avatara, Varaha. So here what is mentioned here is that just like Varaha Swami took Bhumi Devi from the cosmic water using his damshtra, just like that, those who are in the samsara sagara, going the birth and death, and then punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, and again coming in the womb of the mother. So that for those people, this dust and Devi's love becomes the Varaha and raise us up beyond. What does that mean? That is, we are able to go beyond the samsara, meaning getting enlightenment or moksha. So the whole verse is talking about 4 different people, because a mother gives to her kids, like if we have 3 kids, like a mother will be cooking khichdi for one, chapati for another one who likes chapati, and rice for another one, right? Like so. Just like that, this mother's love is unconditional, and then she gives whatever is needed for whichever stage that children are in, right? So she gives each one whatever they are needed. So here, avidyana mandastimira mihira dvibanagari, for the people who are ignorant with ajnanam, who are not jnanis, which we all are until enlightenment, right? For those people, she becomes mihira dvibanagari. It becomes such an abundant light for those with the internal darkness or avidya. And then for Jadanam Chaitanya Stabaga Magaranda Srutijari, with Jada people, she becomes the constant flow of that Chaitanya, like a madhu's flow from the cluster of flowers. So it's called Srutichari. So 2 words are used. That is, Sruti is Dhara, like that. What is flowing continuously is Dhara, and Chari is the stream. So Srutichari is what of Chaitanya is what she becomes for a Jada people. For those people who doesn't have anything, for those Daridra people, for those poor people, that she becomes the Chintamani, Gunanika. So a group of Chintamani, providing them whatever they need. Again, whatever they need, not whatever they want. And then Janma Jaladhau Nimagnanam, those who are immersed in samsara sagaram, she becomes a Muraripu Varahasya Bhavati. She becomes the Damshtra of the Varaha, raising us up to enlightenment. That's her love towards towards different sets of people. So now let's dig a little deeper into the meaning of these. There is a direct correlation with some of these lines too. You might have heard the famous slokas called Asadoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amritangamaya. So if you look, there are very good correlation here. So the first one, if you take Avidyanamanda Stimira Mihira Dvipanagari, we know Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, lead me from darkness to light. Right? Jadanam Chaitanyas Tabakamagaranta Srudijari Asatoma Sadgamaya. So lead me from Asats to Sat or Chaitanya. Lead me there. And then the last one, Janma Jaladhau Nimagnanam Damshra Muriripavara Bhavati Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. So those who are in Samsara Sagaram, if they want to break the cycle and then realize God, Shiva, Brahman, whatever word we call, we are getting enlightenment. We become immortal, the eternal Amritam, and that is where Mrityorma Amritam Kamaya. So lead me from mortality to immortality. So that is the reference to that famous sloka. And then there is you can also see connection with the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7, 14, 15, 16, talk about something very similar to this. This Maya, this is very difficult to cross the samsara. And as much as we say about this sadhana and it is not easy to cross this samsara. And what Bhagavan Krishna says is that only who surrender to me, to surrender to this higher power, surrender to Shakti, understanding Shakti and surrendering to Shakti can go to the other side of Maya and realize our Swarupa. So that is the first one. Then he goes on saying that there are 4 types of people who just cannot surrender at all, hence will not be able to realize. It is not a permanent situation. So those who are at that point in time, those who are completely ignorant, those who are lazy, who doesn't want to surrender, those who are deluded people, and finally those who are demonic people. Those 4 different set of people, they won't surrender and they won't realize God either. Now let's talk about who surrender. And I'm hoping that is us all who are listening here in Zoom and also the one in YouTube, and also anybody who are in the spiritual path. Is that the next set of people? Again, in that there are 4 set of people who are surrendering to the higher power, Shakti, or the Ishvara. Who are the 4 different people? He calls them by Artha, Artharthi, Jitnyasu, and Jnani. So Artha is the people who surrender or who calls Ishvara's name when they are in real difficulty. So when they don't remember God all the time, but remember them when they are in real trouble. And then Artharthi are those folks that who knows about God, but is actually calling God for whenever they want some worldly possession for their own material benefit. Those Artharthis are calling, right? Jitnyasu are the ones, I think many of us could come under this category. We know that Ishvara could provide these, but then we are the seekers of knowledge. So we are the Jitnyasu category. And then finally, the Jnani, who are already realized, those who are very much situated in knowledge, in Jnanam, is the last category of 4 people. So now all 4 people, whatever is needed, the Devi will provide. So all we need to do is that we need to surrender. We need to do our sadhana. That is what is the eligibility to know. It's like Devi's grace is to us all in exact same way. So the way that we are open to that grace, the way we behave is how much grace that we all will receive. So as you are doing sadhana, it opens up that grace to you. So that's why I'm telling that don't take this class so seriously, but take your sadhana seriously, because that sadhana alone is the one that can take you closer. So you take 1 step, Devi will take 10 steps towards you. So continue the sadhana, and with sincerely, with so much sincerity, do the sadhana on a very daily basis. So here, that is again the don't become you want to progress from artha to artharthi to jitnyasu to jnani. So artha is the one that calls only during the time of distress. Like the good example was in Mahabharata, Draupadi, when she was in the middle of that the courtyard where Dushasana was disrobing her. That the final moment she called Krishna, and then Krishna came and provided her the robe. Devi will hear everybody's prayer, everything she will hear. There is also a difference between the boon, the varam, and anugraham. So whatever we are praying for to Devi, that is actually the varam, the boon. So whatever we are asking for, and we receive, that is boon. And if you pray with sincerity, you will receive that. Now, if whatever she will give you without asking is called anugraham, because sometimes we don't even know what we need, right? Over a long period of time, then later only you realize, you know what, that should have not have been a good choice or good prayer for me. But so she knows what is good for us. So she will provide us what is the best case scenario for us. So as your sadhana proceeds, that you will see that difference in you. So that grace will open in abundantly. So stay with that sadhana. As you are open to that grace, to Devi, is how much grace you will receive. She is giving everybody in the exact same way, but it is depending on how we are approaching her, that grace will be happening to us. So please continue the sadhana. It becomes in your own experience. So do that sadhana with so much of that sincerity. Some in certain days you may not be able to focus, but don't skip the sadhana. Just do the sadhana regardless. So that is what ultimately you will be able to receive that grace from Devi. With that, I'm going to stop and see if Rajeshji can add more comments here.
You covered all the points, Gina. I'll just touch up only one point. This shloka again goes with the same style of Śaṅkarācārya, which tells us that Devi is the source from which the whole universe arises. Where, meaning it is the very same source by which everything is sustained, and it is into which everything dissolves. And that is why it is said that even Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara functions through the power of the Devi. So that's one point. Second thing, actually Śaṅkarācārya uses some nice terms. Devi is Sri, meaning the giver of prosperity. Devi is Amba, the universal mother. Devi is Vidya, the wisdom that grants all the liberation and all the worldly benefits. So she's the source, she's the support, and she's the destination. So that's the point we need to contemplate again and again. If she is the source, support, and destination, even Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, their power is the power of Devi. If that is the case, think about me. If I do perform a little bit at work, if I can speak, or if I can write, what exactly is that source of my power? All this power came from Devi. I'm only utilizing it. So please don't have the ego that I did it. Just have the grace that, yes, Devi is manifesting through me nicely. That's an attitude we can develop. And that is a sadhaka's attitude. That's all, Gina. Everything else you covered.
Thank you so much, Rajeshji. Sit tall. We will use the same format where we will start with Guru Ganesha, the mantra, Dhyana Sloka. We will, you can, as you are now learning the new sloka, the first and second sloka, you can chant one time in your daily sadhana. And then the third sloka, now you can do the 10 times. Okay, so let's go through it. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gururdevo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshal Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Vakratundha Mahakaya, Suryakotis Samaprabha, Nirvikhnam Kuru me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Once again, the Dhyana Sloka. You can close your eyes and think of Devi's Rupa. Sindhuraruna Vikraham Trinayanam Manikya Taranayaka Shekaram Smitamukhim Abhina Vakshoruham Panibhyam Alipurnaratna Chashakam Rittolpalam Vipratim Saumyam Ratna Khadastaratta Charanam Dhyayet Param Ambikam. Sloka 1, Glory of Shakti. Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Na Chedevam Devo Na Khalu Kushala Spantitumapi Atastvam Aradhyam Harihara Virinjadi Pirapi Pranamtum Stotum Va Kathamakrita Punya Prabhavati Taniyam Sampamsum Tava Charana Pankeruha Bhavam Virinchis Sanchinvan Virajayati Lokana Vikalam Vahatyenam Shauri Kathamapi Sahasrena Shirasam Harasam Chutyainam Bhajati Pasito Dhulana Vithim Avidyanamanda Stimiramihiratvīpanagari Jadanam Chaitanya Stabhakamakaranta Srutichari Daritranam Chintamani Gunanika Janma Jalatau Nimagnanam Damshtra Murari Puvarahasya Bhavati. Om Shri Matre Namah. May Devi's blessings with you all. Sarvam Sri Jagadambika Padaravindar Pranamastu. With that, let's end the session